many times, I know a lot of teachers who have given a test and all the kids do poorly. It can't all be the kids. You know, sometimes we don't get the subject across as well as we'd like to. And that situation is really a gift when that happens. It's probably embarrassing to you as a teacher, but it really is a learning experience for you to jump and go forward and say, okay, what was missing from how I delivered this, that so many kids didn't get it? So a lot of times when we come across these experiences, we don't want to look at them as failure. We want to look at them as an opportunity. I personally don't believe in failure. I think every time we fall, it's an opportunity to get up and move in a different direction. And if you look at life that way, you'll move forward a lot quicker. We listen to lectures or instructions from teachers. In the workplace, we listen about new procedures or practices that we need to learn. And careful, informative listening is crucial, especially when you're learning to land an airplane, for instance. That is more crucial than learning how to use a copier machine, but both are really important as a part of your day. There are several variables to informative listening. The first one is vocabulary. It's really important when you're doing informative listening to not skip past those words you don't understand. And you know, I'm an educated adult. I have my master's degree. But I have several people at my church, and every time they do a service, I got to go home and look up a word because I don't know what it means. And I'm willing to do that because it gives me an opportunity to learn something new. When you do that too, it also gives you the opportunity to better understand what people are trying to say. So sometimes I actually ask someone, what does that word mean? So I can understand their whole sentence. Because I could be missing something that's really important that they're trying to convey. I use simple words. You won't have that problem today. Concentration. One of the hard things about informative listening is different stimuli going on all the time. So, you know, I don't know if you've had this experience, but I really don't like to go in restaurants with TVs. That's just me. Now, I know if you're going to a sports bar, you're going to watch sports, you want to have as many TVs as you possibly can. That makes total sense. But when I'm going to lunch with you and there's a TV behind your head, it is really hard. Okay. I didn't mean to give that away, sorry. See what I mean? It's all about communication. Anyway, when there's a TV behind your head, even if I'm interested in what you're saying, isn't it really hard to concentrate? Because even the images are going by. So when I'm in a restaurant now that has TVs, I try to sit in an area because as much as I'm focusing, because I think that's really important, I still find myself, doing this because something's flashing by. I absolutely do not allow people to use their telephone unless under one circumstance, which I'll tell you, when I'm having lunch with them or I'm having a meeting with them, because my time's valuable too, and so is yours. And I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody who's incessantly using their phone to say, can we spend this time together? Now, granted, I have a teenage son. I have my phone on all the time. And I will tell people, if the phone rings, I will check to see if it's my son. If it's not, I won't take it. So I'm telling them ahead of time that I'm doing that. And I think that's just being kind to do that for people instead of being rude. I have been on meetings where I've met with people and they've taken a business call and another business call and it's turned into 20 minutes. And I have gotten up and said, let's get together another time when it's more convenient for you, because my time is valuable too. So it's very important for not only you, but to make it okay for you to want people to hear you. Besides the fact, if you're talking to somebody, you're putting something out there that you want to share with them and they're not listening, is that the person you want to share with? So on both sides, we need to be kinder to the people we're talking to and know who it is we want to share with. Sometimes we create our own stimuli because we have our phone, or we're looking at a TV, or we're trying to have a really nice conversation with someone, and we do it in a place where it's not possible. So remember, if you need to talk to someone about a serious issue, don't do it in the hallway, you know, when the kids are changing classes. Make a time where you can actually sit down in a quiet spot, and perhaps that would be after school, if it's school related. But pick a space and time where you can actually talk and share with that person. Because what happens is a lot of times we have this really important issue we want to share, and we're not very patient. And so we share it at a time that really isn't convenient for the person we want to talk to. And then we walk away, and how do we feel? We feel like they didn't listen. And then we go into, well, they really don't care. And then we tell everybody else that. Well, he didn't listen to me. I was trying to tell him something really important about what's going on in school. Now, granted, some things are very time sensitive. But I tried to tell him something that was really important, and he was distracted. What you didn't know is that they were talking in the middle of the hall while the kids were changing classes. So make sure, if you can, if it's not an emergency, and you have something really important to talk to another teacher or facilitator or administration, that you pick a time when you will not be distracted and they will not be distracted. I have up there, it requires discipline, motivation, and acceptance of the responsibility. And like I said before, it's our responsibility to set up these situations. It's our responsibility to be clear about what we want to say. It's our responsibility to make sure that that person heard what we had to say, just like it's our responsibility to make sure we have the information correct, that we're listening from everyone else. We tend to throw responsibility onto the other person in many situations in life. But I'm a believer that all responsibility ends up coming back to you, if for nothing else, on how you react to a situation. Now, I was telling Jason later today I'm going to Bentworth, and I heard there's a big thing about people mixing up Brentwood and Bentworth, but I've got it down. And I'm going to go out there today and do a laughter workshop, and then we're going to talk about adapting to change. And so it's really important for you to take that responsibility. And then there's memory. Mine's going. But informative listening, we do have some memory. That's one of the reasons why I ask people to write when they're at sessions like this, because there is so much information, there's no way you can remember all of it. And so if you write down keywords, later when you look at it, you know, I always laugh because, you know, I tell my son, don't you take notes in class? Because the idea is you take notes in class, right, and then you go home and read them again. Yeah, that's not happening. But as adults, we should know better. And we should know that when we do write things down and we read it again later, that it will actually stir our memory. One of the reasons I have people write things is because there's actual science behind the fact that as you write things, it's as if it goes up your arm and into your brain. It's another imprint. In another life, I was a CPA. And when I studied for the CPA exam, actually in a classroom, so that dates me, one of the things that the man who had these review classes was adamant about is that